If you want to add this background image over here, you simply have to click over here in order to be able to edit the container. You can also do that by clicking over here from the structure, container. If you're not seeing this structure over here, you have to click over here in order to see the structure. You might be able to see the structure like so. You can simply drag it to the edge of the screen in order to pin it in place over here. So now for the container, we have different settings over here. We have some style settings over here and some advanced settings over here. If we are staying in the layout settings, we can choose the width of the container. This will affect the elements inside the container, like so. You can choose the minimum height of the container, like so. You can choose the direction of the elements inside the container. You can choose the justify of the content of the elements inside the container related to the container size, like so. The alignment of the items, like so. And the gap between the elements, like so. Then you can choose if you want the elements to be in a single line. You can choose over here no wrap, and by changing the direction we can see the effect. Or you can choose wrap, and then the elements are in a single line. And then you can choose how you want to align the content. Okay, then for style, we can choose over here the background. We have an option to have a solid color over here. We have the option to have an image over here. By simply clicking on this one, we are opening our media library and we can select an image from over here, like so. If we want to create an image with AI, we can simply click over here in order to open the Elementor AI. In this case, because I've already added an image, I can edit this particular image with AI, like expand image, generative fill, resize variation, and so on. Or I can click over here to generate with a prompt. And then I could add a prompt over here in order to generate an image. For this particular image, let's make some changes. I'm going to first change the display size to default so you can see the changes a bit better. So we have the image resolution, we have the position of the image. You can choose how you want the image to be positioned inside your container. Then we have the attachment if we want to scroll with the page, like so, or if we want it to be fixed, and then you will have this effect like so. If you want the image to repeat or no repeat, I'm going to change the display size to custom so I can make the image smaller so you can see the repeat effect. So it repeats like so. I'm going to set no repeat, and then to display size, you can have it to auto, you can have it to cover, you can have it to contain, or to custom. If I'm choosing a different image, this one for example, as this one is squared, you can see a bit better the difference between contain and cover. Contain is basically going to make sure that the image fits inside the container. If I'm going to choose cover, it's going to make sure that the entire container is going to be covered by the image. Okay, and then we have some scrolling effects and some mouse effects. You can simply click on this toggle in order to activate them, and you can play with them in order to see the effects. We also have the option to add a gradient as a background. We have two colors that we can create a gradient from. We can choose the location of each color. We can choose how we want the gradient, linear or radial. And we can choose the angle of the colors. And here we also have some scrolling and some mouse effects. Then you can add a video as a background if you want to. You can add a video link over here, the start time, the end time, if you want it to play only once, if you want it to play on mobile, and if you want to have an image as a background fallout. In case the video is not loading, you could have a static image as the background. And you can also have a slideshow as the background. You have to click over here to add images. You have to select the images that you want to create a slideshow of. Then click on create new gallery. Over here you can rearrange them if you want to. And then click on insert gallery. And now we can see the images that we have selected over here. If we want to customize this information, we simply have to click on it and we can delete the images like so, or we can add new images to the gallery by clicking over here and adding new images. And once again, you can change the position over here by simply dragging the image where you want it. Then clicking on Insert Gallery, we have the new images over here. We can choose if we want it to be infinite loop or not, the duration between the images, the transition, how we want the images to change from one to another, the duration for the transition, and how we want the background size, if we want it auto, cover, or contain, and the background position. Okay, so this is basically it. I'm going back to classic over here and I'm going to change this image like so. Then we have background overlay over here. We once again can have a solid color like so, or an image, and we have the opacity of the color, how we want it to be. We also have the option to have a gradient. Once again, you can play with those settings over here in order to achieve the effect that you might like. And we also have an hover. So if I'm going back to normal and I'm going to close this one so I don't have any effect over the image and go to hover, and over here I'm going to choose a solid color like so. Only when the mouse hovers over the image, the solid color is going to be visible. And then we also have a border. So we can choose a border if we want to. You can see it over here. So we have a solid border, a double border, dotted one, dashed, and groove. Then you have the border width over here. If you don't want a border on all the sides, you can simply click over here to unlink, and you can customize them the way you may want them. So in this case, you can see that I have a border only at the bottom and only at the top. And over here, I can change the color. And I can also change the border radius. This means the corners over here. You can see that they are now rounded. If you don't want all the corners to be rounded, you can simply click over here to this link over here. And now you can change the values individually. And we also have a shape divider. You can explore those and see what effects you can achieve if you want to. You have different settings for them, like the color, width, height, if you want to flip them, if you want to invert them, if you want to bring it to front. And you can also do this to the bottom. You can see it like so. So you can simply play with those in order to see what effects you can achieve. Then for the advanced, we have the margin and we have the padding. And over here we have multiple settings that we can choose from, like pixel, percentage, EM, RAM, or view width. If we are going with percentage, as this one is over here, and I'm changing the percentage over here, you can see that the distance from the edge of the container to the edge of the elements has increased. Let's change it a bit again. Now it's smaller. And if I'm going once again to a bigger number, now it's bigger. And we also have more settings over here, but this is a good starting point. So once again, if you want to change the background image over here, you simply have to click over here in order to edit the container. For the image, which is a style option, you have to go over here to style, and then you have to go over here in order to change the image. You can also edit the background image by going from the structure to the container over here.